You've done a terrible job. You've been terrible at everything you've done. We don't want you here. We don't want you anywhere. You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
Kristi. Oh, Kristi. This one is insane, guys. Okay? This is just absolutely batshit. Now, let me just, before we get going here, let me outline, okay, that we've seen Kristi Noem as the cosplayer, okay? We've seen her. Remember when she was holding the rocket launcher aimed at that guy's head? She's out there dressed like a cowboy. She's got her flak jacket on. She's out there standing by a tank, talking tough. She's talking to people as they're getting arrested. You're going away, right? She's all cosplay Kristi out there trying to be this military woman while simultaneously her chief of staff is her fucking mister. Okay, she's having an adulterous relationship with her chief of staff. And it's gnarly. And that guy's an abuser too. So she's a mess. But behind the scenes, behind all that cosplay, the head of the DHS deals with money. The primary thing that these department heads do is they have access to all of these funds, and they are in charge of like making sure these funds get disbursed and get used appropriately and get spent for the things they need. And so wait till you see what is going on with the money. Watch this. This is just, it's just mind-blowing. The negligence and the outright corruption here.
Madam Secretary, I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States, you identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll tell you about it.
According to
Madam
law,
Secretary, the
address
is registered to a political operative. Madam Secretary, the company, and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
Yes,
that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered apparently or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why I ask these questions is that this is taxpayer money. And I presume, I don't know this for a fact, but Senator Tillis noted yesterday the way in which your agency is blocking the Inspector General from 11 different investigations that it is trying to conduct. I don't know if this happens to be one of them. I certainly hope it is, because eventually the facts will become public in this regard.
So let's run that back. There's $143 million. And it gets paid to a company that essentially doesn't exist. There's no website. This company's never done any work before. It's never done any government work before. Its articles of incorporation happened 8 days before it received $143 million. And the only known address to it is a political figure in Virginia. And then that political figure in Virginia hires a subcontractor that is a company that had worked with Kristi Noem back in her home state of South Dakota. We just let 143 million in taxpayer money go out to like whatever. I just sent it to a post office box, right? I just put it in a cardboard box and I left it on a park bench and somebody picked it up. And I'm pretty sure they're a defense contractor, dude. Crime maxing. Yes. Isn't that insane? Is that not like the most insane thing? And what he said after that was that the inspector general is trying to follow up on this shit. And then she blocks the inspector general from being able to investigate inside her agency. Now, guys, this is not just Kristi Noem. Okay. Some of this was 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧. She was the little spunky young girl who was like the little Fox News mouthpiece for DHS. Okay, so 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧, there was an ad contract, 220 million got paid out. Okay, and then Kristi Noem, some of that money went to a firm tied to Kristi Noem, but a whole bunch of that money, there's 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧 with some friends on a private jet, just zipping around. Okay, so 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧, her husband was one of the contractors involved in that 220 million. So 220 million goes out on an ad contract. A big chunk of that goes to 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧's husband. And then 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧 steps down after that took place. So she gets the job. She's the mouthpiece for DHS. She lies a whole bunch while U.S. citizens are murdered in Minneapolis. She gets who knows how many millions of our taxpayer money. And then she's like, smell ya. I'm going to hop on a private jet and I'm out of here. And off she goes, dude, to the horizon. And that's what they're doing. They're all just getting in there and just cha-chinging our taxpayer money, raking in the mills, and then they're bouncing.
Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And the people that you ended up picking were people who had formerly done your political work back in South Dakota. Is that right?
No, that's not correct, sir. No, it's not, sir. The individuals who, I believe the careers who they chose were two different media firms. There's been conversation about their subcontractors, but we have no legal authority to look into subcontractors on work like that.
Yeah, see, that's though the same shit they did with that 143 million, right? That's their ruse, okay? They pick a firm, which is just a dude or a post office box, right? And then the firm subcontracts to all their friends and or 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧's husband or, right, or their nanny or whomever. You know, Kristi Noem's like her Botox doctor is picked up a subcontractor. You know, he's out there like installing Starlink satellites or some shit. Dude, and that's our money, guys. That is our money. Okay, meanwhile, your ACA premiums go 10x. And if you have a disabled kid and you were getting a little SNAP, you don't have SNAP anymore and you're not getting any assistance for your disabled kid. But you know, 𝗙cie 𝗵𝗏𝗧's husband is like banging her on a private jet while, you know, shoving caviar up his ass. Okay, with our money, dude. It is, you know, frustrating to say the least, dude. It's so smarmy.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes. Did it?
By the way, for $220 million, you could make a Marvel movie with like the top stars. Okay? Think about that. 220 million, you could have all of the Avengers and do a huge budget Marvel movie, something spectacular for 220 million. And they, for 220 million, made some fucking DHS, like public access commercials, right? That probably, I bet I could have filmed them and made them look better. And, right? They probably had them edited by some kid on a MacBook Pro somewhere. But 220 million went into this shit. Bro, right? I mean, just the craziest scam. Like the craziest overspending. Like taking us back to the days when they were charging the government like $1,000 for a hammer and shit.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
He's kind of going after her. He's kind of calling the crackhead, right? I'm actually a little surprised.
I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot.
You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.